An infinite multiverse, raccoon puppeteers, and a nihilistic cosmic bagel. It's fair to say that the latest A24 movie from the Daniels is a fun and wacky ride. I had at least an inkling going into the movie that it was going to be somewhat unorthodox. Any movie described as weird, strange, or unusual is directly up my alley, so I pounced on the opportunity to see this film, and I was blown away by its sheer inventiveness and the dopamine-triggering visual feast on display. Walking into the theater, I was unfamiliar with the previous work of directorial duo Daniel Kwan and Daniel Scheinert, but now I will certainly be doing my due diligence on their previous work. I was also mostly unfamiliar with the previous work of lead actresses Michelle Yeoh and Stephanie Su. The main draw of this film for me, besides its unique plot, was getting to see Huy Quan work again in a sizable role after a long absence from the spotlight. The three of them, along with James Hong and Jaime Lee Curtis, give the film a solid emotional backbone that keeps you engaged throughout, especially when it deviates from conventionality. Everything, Everywhere, All at Once's introductory act is very grounded and works well as a simple family drama. Yeoh and Quan are Evelyn and Waymond Wang, Chinese immigrants who live humbly above their failing laundromat with their daughter Joy. We see how difficult it is for the Wangs to keep their head above water when a fractured family bond and an IRS audit is added to the load of their ailing business. Despite some touches of the eccentric, the first act is neo-realism compared to the surreal sci-fi fever dream it soon morphs into. We're not quite going into the spoiler zone yet, but if you haven't seen the movie, I wouldn't recommend seeking out additional information on the plot. This is pretty much all you should know going into it. Everything, Everywhere, All at Once is one of the most unique films I've seen in a very long time, and maybe ever. It undoubtedly takes influences and references from other great movies, but instead of being derivative, these influences are augmented into the Daniels' creative vision. That vision is bold and manifested with a great intrepid energy. It comes across as obvious that the Daniels have great confidence in their ability and that they and their cast had a really fun time making the film. The unbridled uniqueness and creativity and the optimistic message that Everything Everywhere All at Once ultimately offers highlights the main reason why I believe you should see it. It's a kind of cinematic beacon of light. In a time where creative risk-taking in filmmaking is at a premium, the Daniels present the awesome potential that the medium still has, and with their latest film, they tease the expanding frontiers that cinema still has the power to reach. In our time, movies and shows are the most accessible medium of storytelling, and we cannot underestimate the power of storytelling. Generally speaking, stagnant storytelling traditions don't provide much optimism for the future. This is why I believe it's important to support filmmakers like the Daniels and films like this one, to widen the reach of their unique vision, to encourage creativity and risk-taking in the film industry, and to inspire people to contribute their voices and experiences to the culture. If you haven't yet seen Everything Everywhere All at Once and you're still watching the video, it's at this point that I suggest you click off and return after you've seen the movie, as we are now entering the spoiler zone. In the beginning stages of the second act, after that dramatic turn, everything was clicking for me. The direction was engaging, the action sequences were terrific, and the humor really worked for me as well. I was delighted to be enlightened to the deadly potential of a fanny pack. But it brings me to really my only gripe about the film. Everything Everywhere All at Once is remarkably ambitious, and as I expressed before, I immensely respect the intrepid spirit of the Daniels. But the cost of rolling out an ambitiously high concept is excessive exposition. A lot of that exposition was delivered at a breakneck speed, and it could just be me being a little bit slow, but I had a bit of a hard time following those exposition dumps. Thankfully, film is a visual medium and I was able to catch up pretty quickly. The visuals were totally engrossing and carried the film through stretches of the plot that felt a little bit bloated and repetitive. Sticking through those somewhat convoluted plot mechanics is ultimately worth it, not only for the arresting visuals, but also for the message entwined within. Watching Evelyn traverse the infinite expanse of the multiverse and seeing firsthand her unlived lives made me think of a famous Teddy Roosevelt quote: "Comparison is the thief of joy." Someone else's life will always seem more appealing than yours. Someone will always have the bigger house, a better car, the bigger salary, etc. When we compare ourselves to others, it becomes almost natural to forget our respective blessings and to long for the blessings and all too often possessions of others. The curse of comparison is more potent than ever in the age of social media, where feeds are curated to project the highlights of one's life and to eliminate the ordinary moments. But if comparing your life to others stings you with inadequacy, imagine the pain of comparing your mediocre life to an infinite array of more successful lives. Lives where you crack the code to the multiverse. Lives where you were a movie star or a world-class hibachi chef. Lives that could have been yours if you didn't take the easy way out or took decisive action at a pivotal moment. Not only do you have to continue eking out your insignificant existence, but you're also saddled with regret, and any shot at joy has been snatched from you, and you only have yourself to blame. In their darkest moments, this is the pain felt by Evelyn and the Alphaverse Joy. After the splintering of their identities, they're able to access all of their infinite permutations all at once. This helps when it comes to fighting bad guys, but it leaves them emotionally adrift and susceptible to nihilism. They're simultaneously everything and nothing. The creeping nihilism from the infinite comparisons drives Jobu Tupaki to create the Everything Bagel. As we find out later in the story, the Everything Bagel isn't a weapon of multiversal destruction, but a tool for Jobu to destroy herself. Jobu's goal all along was to seek out an Evelyn with the same abilities as her, an Evelyn to ease her loneliness in a vast multiverse where nothing truly matters, and to walk into the void of the Everything Bagel with. Evelyn begins to succumb to nihilism when she smashes the windows of the laundromat, symbolic of her desire to escape from the confinement of her mediocre life. What brings her back from the edge of the void is the unconditional love and kindness of her husband Waymond. The symbol that represents Waymond and his unconditional love is the googly eye. With a ring of white around a small black center, the eye is an inversion of the nihilistic bagel, and the way Evelyn places it on her forehead as her third eye gives us the impression that Waymond's way is the correct one. One of the most interesting subtextual angles planted in the film is that of the intergenerational conflict and its perpetuation. Evelyn's father is hard-headed and traditional, and he disowns her when she leaves for America with Waymond. He had greater expectations for her, and despite his good intentions, those expectations spawned great pressure for Evelyn to succeed. That pressure manifested in great dissatisfaction for the way her life turned out, and when she became a parent, that pressure from her father contributed to the fractured bond she has with Joy. Evelyn has a difficult time coming to terms with Joy's sexuality and her aimlessness. At the end of the film, Joy is ready to leave the family as a result of the friction between mother and daughter. Evelyn nearly repeats the mistakes of her father. The Daniels do an excellent job of mirroring the divide between Evelyn and Joy in the Alphaverse. It is the Alphaverse Evelyn that creates the villainous Jobu after pushing her verse-jumping experiments way too far. It's Evelyn who is one of the main architects of her daughter's depression. In the universe where Evelyn is a movie star, she has a conversation with a Waymond she rejected, partially due to her father's influence. Waymond is a successful businessman in his own right, and she attributes their success to the fact that they didn't stay together and didn't go to America. If they had gone to America, they would have ended up living in a shabby apartment above a failing laundromat, she tells him. Waymond replies that he would have been happy with a life doing laundry if it was with her. This scene encapsulates what I believe to be the ultimate message of the film, which is that despite the unlived lives we all have, and our successes and failures, what truly matters in an ever-expanding multiverse are the people in your life, and accepting them as they are, faults and all.